Unreachables are the group of consumers that are not measured by traditional media measurement techniques.
Mostly Gen Xers and millennials, but really people of all ages in this modern world of digital and over-the-top television distribution who are very hard to reach through normal ad-supported television content.
The biggest behavioral change we've seen has really been that platform shift. 2 or 3 years ago, we had about half of our viewing on OTT, what we call living room devices, so game consoles, set-top boxes like Roku and Apple TV, as well as connected smart TVs. Fast forward to today, we have about 77% of our viewing happening on those devices. Mobile has been roughly the same at about, say, 15%, and desktop has really dropped into the single digits when it used to be 30 to 35%.
The younger demographic are clearly starting with mobile first, and the younger you get, whether you have millennials and then into Gen Zs, they get more interactive, where they really want control.
We go back 10 years, the first iPhone was created. Fast forward 10 years, 75% of all consumption of the internet is on mobile.
I had a planner come into my office about 6 months ago. She was actually in the target of the campaign that she was working on. She used the industry standard planning tool. She did all of her work as she should. Came in and said, hey, I'm in the target, but this looks like a foreign media plan to me. I don't watch these programs. I don't consume content in this way. This seems totally off. That was almost the genesis for how we started really looking at this and putting a primary research initiative against it.
Hearts and Science partnered with Omnicom Media Group to do a large-scale survey as well as several days of ethnographies with our consumers.
This research is providing us with information that gives a fuller picture to millennials and Gen Xers' media diet.
47% of millennials and Gen Xers are basically not covered by traditional media measurements.
There's almost a Bermuda Triangle that we have to help our clients get through. There's a pretty big supply problem right now relative to television. Ratings are down, audiences are going to different platforms, but brands feel like that's the only safe environment they can be in. And to some degree, they're right. There's been adjacency problems and questionable content on some of the UGC platforms. And then we have this huge digital measurement problem relative to mobile. We have to get our clients through that triangle to help them grow their brands again. And we think missing huge swaths of audiences because we currently can't effectively plan for mobile and an app is pretty important to crack the code on. How we found the gap in the data is we started talking to a lot of the publishers, asking them how the measurement companies were including their tracking technology in the SDKs. And what we found is a lot of them were completely absent in the SDKs.
SDK is, tech talk for basically code that, for example, the measurement providers give to a publisher, and they say, we want you to put this code into your product so that we can actually keep track of how people are using your app. It's really a broken process. It's very, very difficult because when you insert that code from somebody else into your product, it can break things.
Then when we started looking at it on a bigger and broader basis, we found that if it's an in-app and it's in mobile, it's likely not tracked.
The ways of the past on how you would measure with the new tech and the desire for data, they're just not keeping up.
Every brand is really trying to capture Gen X, capture the millennials. So, it's a very, very competitive market, and they're a very fickle customer. So you've got two things kind of working against you there.
The dream of having this total audience or consistency across all platforms is probably impossible to get to because measurement will never keep up with the consumer changes.
For a marketer to not have solid measurement that they can count on, trust, and have it be consistently captured is very difficult to justify getting bigger budgets. The days where I can splash it out there and try to measure some of it, the expectations just changed.
There's got to be a way that brands can storytell, that they can get their message across, so they can reach the right people effectively in a world of digital.
A lot of it is intuition for us as well, and I think for a lot of companies our size as well. Do I wish there'd be perfect data tracking for every campaign we did? Of course, but the fact that there may not be doesn't prevent us from doing something if we feel that it could be the right fit for us.
So many people believe that they are unreachable, but in fact, they actually are very reachable and not as elusive as conventional wisdom would have it.
It forces us to take a far more responsible role in how we're providing those communications, the value of them, the interest of the relevancy.
I think agencies and clients have to kind of step in and force the measurement providers to really go in this direction and tell them we must have mobile, we must have OTT. We need to start understanding these really important pieces of our consumers' media journey.